following podcast contains references to the consumption of alcohol. If you are not of legal drinking age, please do not consume alcohol. Also, if you are of legal drinking age, please drink responsibly. Hello, and welcome back to Rhetorical Magic Cocktail Hour. My name's Matthew, and my favorite leaf color is red.
And I'm Ryan, and my favorite leaf color is yellow.
Ooh.
I like those bright little pops of yellow in those big old trees.
Yeah. But I think we can all agree the worst color is mauve. And this is a podcast where we have a drink, try to be succinct about various topics, and sometimes we don't. So yeah. First order of business is we have a drink.
We do have a drink. Matthew, do you want to explain what the drink is?
Yes. Today, our drink is called Apple Cider Bourbon Cocktail, which is a very straightforward name for a drink. But basically, you take 2 ounces of bourbon, 1 ounce of apple cider, 1 ounce of sweet vermouth, a ½ ounce of lemon juice, and a dash of orange bitters, and you mix those all together and garnish it up with some apple slices and a sprig of thyme, and baby, you got a stew going.
Yeah, I feel like
it tastes like a whiskey sour for some reason.
Which I feel like once you get into like the darker bourbon, like the whiskeys and the spiced rums, and it feels more autumnal. Like they just kind of have like that warmer little like hint of. Doesn't bourbon have like a hint of vanilla in it usually?
I've been told so. I've never tasted it, but I have been told. I don't have the palate.
One day.
But
yeah, and it kind of warms you up, and it doesn't quite feel like autumn yet outside. I definitely think it's 80 degrees.
Yeah, it's getting there.
We're at the point of recording, we're just a couple of days away from the equinox.
Ooh, spooky.
And then, right?
I have no clue when the equinox is.
I thought it was September 20th. 20th or 21st. Let's consult. That is not my calendar. That is my work email.
Ooh, could you email your boss and ask when the equinox is?
The 22nd is the September equinox.
So yeah, between when this is recorded and when this will go out, it will have happened. Which is fun. But yeah, I feel like this drink is a very autumn drink because it's got the apple cider and it's got the bourbon. And everybody knows the most autumnal ingredient of all is a sprig of thyme. Because thyme
is fleeting.
Heals all wounds? What is happening? Where am I?
Because time is a bastard.
Time is an illusion.
No.
No. No. Not today. But yeah, speaking of time and autumn and illusions, rule of threes, we put together some autumn playlists that we're going to discuss today.
We did.
So everybody out there can get their autumn vibes on right, because as everybody knows, we are authorities on music.
Yes. Can we talk for just a moment about kind of our playlist making journey that
Hmm.
we very recently have gone on together?
Oh, the other playlists that you're talking about, not this specific
Not
one.
this specific one, but just
Okay. Yeah.
we've gotten into playlists lately.
Yeah. So I figured out that I have a Spotify that I have had since high school and didn't know about. Well, I guess I knew about it. I just forgot about it. And then I found it one day. I was like, hey, Ryan, I got Spotify. I didn't know it. And then we discovered there's a collaborative playlist feature. So that's what we've been doing.
Pretty a lot, actually. We got pretty buck wild with it.
For sure. I think the wildness hit the peak when we did Home, which is just a bunch of songs with the title Home,
Yeah.
not necessarily anything to do with each other.
I also feel like I learned that when it does come to making playlists, I'm really not great at sticking to a vibe.
Hmm. I'm not really either, because yeah, we would title them with the vibe we're going for. Like, for example, sad songs to do dishes to, or for when it's cold and I'm sad, or Pumpkin Patch Day is more of a feeling.
And I feel like we start out really good, and then we're just like, I like this song, it might as well go here.
Yeah, there's definitely a point where like a song gets added that isn't quite the vibe,
and
and then it's just like, okay, anything goes
and
now.
it just becomes the vibe from that point on.
Yeah,
Which, I mean, when you think autumn, you do think transition, you do think, um,
slow decay.
yeah, Descent into Madness and SAD.
Hmm. Yeah,
So, I mean, it works. And I definitely feel like that was kind of how my autumnal equinox playlist went, because very little to do with the equinox and not a ton to do with autumn, but I feel like it worked.
yeah. So if we want to get into like the autumnal playlist specifically, yeah, it's like I started out just being like, my three criteria are it's either acoustic, or it's sad, or it reminds me of autumn. And then I put like three songs in it. It's just like, uh-oh,
That's all of them.
what else is a song? But yeah.
Yeah. I'm excited. We have listened to each other's playlists, and I like yours. I feel like yours has a good
Mhm.
vibe to it.
There are definitely a couple that are just like, should this be on here? But I was having trouble thinking of songs.
Hey, when it works, it works. You know, like it.
What is anything?
When nothing matters, anything
Everything
goes.
matters.
So,
Anything goes. You ever seen that? I think it's a play. I don't know.
maybe. So you kind of listed your criteria. What would set this apart from, say, jaunty, cool jams for summer tunes kind of playlist?
So I think summer tunes. I found making this playlist I had a hard time distinguishing autumn vibes and summer evening vibes because they're similar,
Okay.
but there's a ethereal difference that I can't quite place.
Like a stronger hint of like melancholy, maybe?
Maybe it may be like less acoustic stuff. Because I feel like in my mind, folk is autumn, basically. So if it's got
Yeah.
acoustic, I was like, it can go in here. But I don't know. There were a couple songs where it's like it could have either been a sad summer evening song or a autumn song that I went in. But yeah, I think summer songs, they're jauntier. They got the three J's, like as we all know. They're jauntier. They're And what do you think the difference is between? We'll get it in post.
I would agree that like they kind of have like more of like an upbeat feel. Maybe they're a little more optimistic.
Hmm.
I feel like fall is kind of like things are winding down. You kind of start getting into that um like postmortem like feeling, like things have wound down. You're kind of moving on and like reflecting a little bit more.
Hmm.
When you're in that
Introspective.
summer feeling, it's very like in the moment.
Hmm.
Let's ignore any sad feeling. It's summer, it's warm.
Yeah.
And then autumn really just like opens it up to the melancholy, to the spooky
Hmm.
feelings of like depression.
Yeah, because I think if there's one aspect that is woefully lacking in mine, it's the spooky. Because, yeah, none of these songs are really spooky. You got a couple on there that's like, ooh, this is spooky. This sounds like I'm getting a curse put on me. But yeah, yeah, there's definitely like a genre of summer song that's like, we're young and we're never gonna die. That I
Hmm.
feel like if you played in an autumn playlist, everybody would think you were crazy.
Yeah.
Autumn is we're old and we're all gonna die.
So, yeah, that's a pretty good way to put it. How did you build out your playlist?
So in my head, I was definitely trying to like do it ups and downs, sort of like it was very in my head. It was very methodical, but when I went into Spotify, I had a hard time remembering what songs I picked, so I would just like throw them in willy nilly.
Mm.
So the actual playlist, I feel like is not as structured as it should be. But so basically, I was just looking for anything sad and acoustic, or reminded me of autumn, which a couple songs of mine I don't really think are autumnal, but they just reminded me of autumn.
Hmm.
What was your methodology?
I worked really hard to not do a triptych this time.
But you should have. Everybody knows, Ryan.
I know, but that's when you gotta zag on them. You can't.
That's when you Zach Baggins on him. Steal some dirt and put it in a museum.
I also kind of try to like build it throughout, like, so I try to like look at autumn as a whole and how you kind of like exist in that space. And so like the first couple of songs are kind of like summer's winding down,
Hmm.
and then I feel like it kind of like builds into like what autumn is, and then I tried to have it be really have it really kind of shift down into winter. So
Hmm.
like it's like the whole process of autumn. Did I do a good job? I don't know. I feel like I have some in there that are maybe like a little more upbeat and jaunty
Hmm.
that could maybe fall into like true summer, but I had fun.
When you said true summer, it made me think of like chaotic good, lawful evil. That thing where it's like
Mhm.
I'm chaotic summer as a vibe. So I think the best thing to do now is just to say, do a little podcast poison and say what our playlists are. Do you want me to go first or do you want to go first?
I can go first if that's
Okay.
all right.
Yeah.
So to kind of start us out with like that kind of like end of summer vibe, I did Blossom by Soccer Mommy.
Hmm.
And then ease it into Garden Song by Phoebe Bridgers, which I feel like is kind of a classic. Punisher is, as an album, is just chef's
Chef
kiss
kiss.
beautiful. Um, and then we kind of like slip into like, it's kind of like a build up to being a little bit sadder. Boyish by Japanese Breakfast. And then we move into Alewife by Claro. I Saw You in a Dream, The Japanese House.
Ooh.
And then I feel like, oh god, did I inadvertently build a triptych? Because I'm not
I think
sick.
you did, my bud.
No. Anyway,
You just can't help it. You love them so much. It's just so ingrained into your personality.
because then it kind of shifts into like the more like true autumn with like Yellow is the Color of Her Eyes, again by Soccer Mommy. I do, when I'm making short playlists, I try not to use the same artist twice, but I feel like
you could get away with it on this one.
it's my playlist and I can do what I want. And then we get into Places/Plans by Skull Crusher. And then Thursday by Peach Pit, because honestly, I feel like autumn is like the Thursday of seasons.
Okay, that makes sense, yeah.
I love Thursdays. I think that they're a great day. There's like the ennui of like, there's still a lot left to do before you get into like Friday and the weekend, which is like the fun part people care about. But you've already done so much, so it's kind of like that weird. Some people say hump day is like Wednesday is hump day. I say Thursday is. It's fine.
Don't add us. We're taking shots, calling Thursday hump day.
This is our podcast, and we can say whatever we want.
This just in, Thursday is now hump day.
And then we move into Unclean Mind by Grouper, which I think your playlist has a Grouper song, yeah. I feel like they're the autumnal group. And then Repping My Twilight Phase.
Yep. I was like, is that the song from the gazebo?
It is the song from the gazebo.
Okay.
Flightless Bird, American Mouth by Iron and Wine. It's a classic. It's good.
It's autumnal.
That is a vibe I will that is a hill I will die on. Is that
I like to say that Thursdays are the twilight of the week because they're both very autumnal. I'm just saying buzzwords.
This isn't the Twilight episode, Matthew. That's next time.
Oh yeah, well no. We're jumping into the worst reviewed one on IMDb next time, so look forward to that. It doesn't have Spooky Baby in it, but it
needed more werewolf.
Yes.
That's for next time. I have so many things to say about it for the next time. And then we kind of get into like the transition from autumn into winter. So I got to Fire by Waxahachie. And then The Harvest by Windy Rule, which I think is like the spooky song that you were saying.
Feels like I'm getting cursed.
And then
all my crops are gonna fail.
And then like the true kind of like shift down into winter, we have Night Shift by Lucy Dacus. Great song. Amazing. State Lines by Novo Amor. And then M by Florist, which I think is like very much like this is the start of winter. And we're moving on. And
it's a triptych.
Hush.
But yeah, yeah. Good times, good vibes.
Yeah. Do we want to do a quick hydration station before we get into your little playlist?
Sure.
Hell yeah.
Hydration station. Hello, and welcome to Hydration Station. Where I'm talking like this for some reason. Ring ring, who's on the phone? It's Autumn. Time to hydrate.
It's just a good point of the episode to just take a drink of water and remember to drink responsibly.
Mm-hmm.
And hydration is important.
Yeah. Hydrate your face into healthy living.
Perfect.
That's the tagline for Hydration Station.
Perfect. We did it.
Hydrated.
Hydration Station.
Okay.
So, do you want to go over your playlist, Mr. Matthew?
Sure.
Yes.
So, as I said before, please do not judge the you know what I'm saying.
Judge him hard. Yell at us on Twitter, please. I'm begging.
Roast me. Put me in a bear and roast me. Remember when I said that in the Midsummer episode? Okay, so my playlist starts out with a classic from Aoife O'Donovan called Stanley Park. Then we move on to Heavy Water / I'd Rather Be Sleeping by Grouper. Then we take a little trip down memory lane and do The Shins, A Comet Appears.
Mm-hmm.
And then we take the bus back from memory lane, but not quite all the way, to stop at Squirrel Flowers Station and get on the train. Train by Squirrel Flower.
Choo choo.
Choo choo. Choo choo. Oh no, I'm sad. And then On a Neck on a Split by Grizzly Bear. The Gymnast High Above the Ground by the Decemberists. And then this one, this one was kind of a question mark for me, but it's Forever Autumn by Justin Hayward from that weird War of the Worlds thing. Did you ever listen to that?
Mm-mm.
It's like a musical War of the Worlds, and this is in it for some reason.
Okay.
Then, oh, what's that? We're going back down memory lane because we forgot Death Cab for Cuties here with a lack of color. And then we stay in memory lane because maybe it's For the Best by Gregory and the Hawk. But after all, actually, maybe we should go by All We Are. And that's where this bit's gonna end. Cause the next one, I think it might be Cause, but it's Cause or Cuz by Hayake. Pardon my pronunciation. It's Japanese, and I don't know how to pronounce things. And then, can I think of a goof for this song? No. So I'm just going to say the next one.
You can, When the Day Leaves.
Oh, yeah. When the Day Leaves by Valley Maker. And then Every Wave to Ever Rise featuring Elizabeth Powell by American Football and Elizabeth Powell. Because you gotta get some Midwest emo in there. Just gotta. And then Michigan by the Milk Carton Kids, because I want the ending to just really get you in the feels. And then we finish off with Dandelion Wine by Gregory Alan Isaacoff. And that was the playlist goof.
One thing I really like about your playlist that you put together is, like, we have Hot Girl Summer.
Mm-hmm.
This is giving very much
Sad Boy Autumn.
Sad Boy Autumn. Which I think is refreshing. I feel like we need to let the boys be sad. I don't know. But I feel like
finally the boys can be sad. Autumn's for the boys to be sad. You thought Saturday was for the boys. No. Autumn's for the boys. Finally the boys get something. That's not a fun goof. I'm not going to do that.
I feel like the boys have had a lot for a long time.
But yeah, so you kind of said how you felt about mine.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like mine encapsulates the experience of autumn accurately?
Yes, because I could listen to this on like a cool autumn night. Maybe not early, maybe not like in the like transitionary autumn period like right now. Yours
Hmm.
definitely gives cooler mid-late autumn vibes when like the days are just short and kind of like the leaves have already been falling. They're not just starting to turn and fall.
Hmm.
Um but yeah, no, I definitely think that yours I feel like tonally yours feels more autumn than mine does.
I think yours kind of, I don't, mine is a very like condensed autumn. I feel like yours is more of like the slow burn of autumn, where it's like it I think it really does do a good job of like, this is the beginning of autumn, this is the middle of autumn, this is getting into winter. And I think in my head I was thinking autumn was like the week around Halloween. But there's so much more to autumn than just Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
There's also Pumpkin Patch Day, which is also kind of Halloween. And there's apple cider. And there's a third thing, probably. The leaves.
The leaves.
Yeah. But yeah, there are definitely a couple songs on mine where it's just like, I remember listening to the song in autumn a lot,
Mm-hmm.
but it doesn't necessarily have the autumn feel, like Every Wave to Ever Rise.
Yeah.
I remember listening to that album a lot going to a class in the fall. So it's just like, when I hear it, I'm imagining I'm driving down 69 and the leaves are changing. 69 is a highway in Kansas, just so you know. It wasn't a weird.
I
It
miss
wasn't a
I
weird
miss
brag
that
thing.
drive from like Pittsburgh to like Joplin.
Hmm.
It was such a
Yeah,
it was always a vibe. It
because you kind of get like wooded area, but you also get that like open farmland area too. So it's a nice. You could say it's a triptych of a drive, because the first third is woodsy area, and then the middle third is Asbury,
hmm
and then the last third is open.
I would like to if I may for a moment divert the podcast and talk
Hmm.
about an artist who both of us did not put on the autumn playlist, is because they don't fit the vibe even a little for autumn. And that is Bon Iver. Is it Bon
BTS.
Iver?
Oh, Bon Iver. It's Bon Iver, I think. I've heard
I've heard
people
Bon
pronounce
Iver.
it.
I've heard Bon Iver. I say Bon Iver. Bon Iver is a winter artist.
Mhm,
If I
for sure.
see them on an autumn playlist, I'm like, unimmersive, not acceptable. We as a society need to move on.
Yeah. Yeah, there were definitely a couple times where it's like, should I put Flume on here?
No.
No.
No, you shouldn't, because Flume is a winter song. Michigan is like the epitome of winter.
Hmm.
Michigan is what you listen to when you're walking to your play with me in this space. Michigan
Okay.
is what you listen to on your walk from your dorm to your evening like art studio class
Hmm.
at Porter
Yep.
Hall when it had just snowed and there was supposed to be like an event in the plaza on like that, not the plaza, but like between
The Oval.
Horace Mann and the student center,
Oh, yeah, that
and
little
they had
weird.
strung up lights. That is when you listen
Oh.
to Michigan.
What is this? The movie Garden State? I'm sorry. I thought this was my life.
And it's only acceptable to wear like a pea coat, and then like I think this is a very specific memory that I had. If you didn't pick up on that,
No, I didn't. I thought this was a universal experience.
I was wearing like an oversized sweater, leggings, a little like Doc Martin moment, and a pea coat with like a backpack on one shoulder that had like all my art supplies so I could go to my little art class that was in the evening.
Yeah, that feels right. But yeah, I feel like, okay, play with me in this space. Bon Iver, or Bon Iver, or Bon Iver, or Bon Iver is winter. Grouper is autumn.
Oh, for sure.
It's like, you listen to Grouper through autumn, and then the second it snows, you switch to Bon Iver.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't snow, you just keep listening to Grouper, because Grouper works fine for winter too.
No, 100% I would agree. The Grouper is very... Just look at the album art on that one... On the Heavy Water I'd Rather Be. Like, that is the epitome of autumn.
It's her dressed as a witch in the woods as a small child. Which is fun. But yeah, so let's see. Do you think there's anything on mine that you would cut because it doesn't feel autumny enough to you?
Maybe A Comet Appears by the Shins doesn't have the most autumn vibe to me.
It's one that kind of borders on Sad Summer Evening.
I think the rest fit really well. I think ending on Dandelion Wine was a good move for you. I feel like...
Which is good because it was a panic move because I needed one more song because my iPhone note for some reason like skipped a number, so I thought I had 15. So it said I had 15, and then I kept counting and be like, this is 14. How is this 14? Is this 15? And then I realized there wasn't a 13. But yeah, I think it was a happy accident.
I get that. What about mine? What would you cut from mine?
I think Thursday.
That one definitely diverted.
I think your explanation makes sense that autumn is the Thursday of the year. So thematically it works. But when I saw it, I was like, huh.
Yeah, it definitely, and I think
choice.
like Places and Plans, oh god, watch me be, but it has like this really like distinct build up in it, and then it kind of just like whoop, and then Thursday hits and you're like I get it, but it's a little off. I definitely could see Thursday being the one that you would want to bounce.
But I mean, also Thursday is like the exact middle of the playlist, and I feel like it's the climax, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
So it feels right. It feels like you're building up to Thursday, and then Thursday hits, and it goes down. But yeah. Do you have any like honorable mentions that didn't make it onto your playlist that almost did?
No, because in my head, like, I know that we try to keep it at 15, but in my head, like, if there was one that I was like, no, this needs to be on there, I would have just put it on there. I think that overall, I'm pretty happy with this as, like, a complete little...
It's a complete experience of a triptych.
It's about an hour-long jaunt.
I think if you put mine and yours together, it's exactly 2 hours. I want to say.
That's how you know we're buddies. We can build out a good couple-hour playlist.
Yeah. But yeah, there are a couple that you put on yours that I almost put on mine,
Mm-hmm.
like Fire and Blossom. But yeah, we can probably wrap it up. It's autumn. They don't need to be long.
Days are short, so are the episodes. Deal with it.
Yeah, deal with it. So this has been Rhetorical Magic Cocktail Hour. If you want to follow us on social media, it's at Rhetorical Magic. I'm at RMCHMatt.
And I am at Queer Mothra.
Excuse me, I burped. And then I went through puberty. But yeah, so this has probably been a short and sweet one. Be good to one another. Eat your greens. Get vaxxed if you haven't. And like we say at the end of every episode, clink. Oh, that was a good one. That was magical. Autumn has been rung in.
Okay. And we're back. Orajel is a lifesaver, but it feels really like it is not an attractive thing to put on.
Challenge accepted.
I thought about just,
Is Orajel the numbing thing? Mm-hmm. Guys in my class used to, like, get Orajel and then just, like, put a bunch in their mouths to where their whole mouth was numb. And they would just kind of, like, drool. And it's like, what's the point of this? How is this fun?
I mean, it feels cool.
Yeah.
I guess. Like,
yeah. Well, they also would, like, pull down on the hoods of their hoodies until they passed out, too. So I don't think the guys in my class were super bright.
they would... What?
It's like if you were wearing a hoodie, you'd have somebody go up behind you, and they would pull on the hood, so, like, the front would bunch up, and it would, like, cut off your circulation, and you would pass out.
Jesus Christ. Boys are wild.